So I went up to Jim Higgins, who went with me the other day, and he said, I said, Jim, I've got to leave, take care of the team. He said, where are you going? I said, true story, where are you going? I said, I'm going to South Bend. He says, you got to be kidding me. He said, congratulations. I said, I'm going to be calling me in a week. I want you to go with me. He says, well, I'll think about it. So anyhow, I got home, got in the car, and we drove up to South Bend. We stopped in Indianapolis to eat at one of those chain places. I can't remember the name of the place. Fire and Wine, I think it was. Something like that. We went into Steak and Ale. We went in there, and so we ordered the meal. I said, Marlene, I'll be back. And then I went to the phone. I called 3 of the players that played for the Kohler and scholarships on the phone. Mike Morgan, Mark Brooks, and Doug Williams. 2 of them came with me. Mark Brooks and Mike Mark and Doug went to Kentucky and then went to Texas A&M. But I opened all 3 kid scholarships on the phone at 6 o'clock at night when I was eating. Got back to the car, and started driving to South Bend. We got 30 miles out of South Bend. It started to snow. Here's November 20th, it started to snow. And I mean, it really started to come down. My wife started to cry. It's a true story. She started to cry, and as she cried, I said, what's wrong, Marlene? She says, I don't want to go. She says, I don't want any part of it. She says, I don't want to go. I pulled the car to the side. It's a true story. Pulled the car right to the side of the road, and I sat there and I turned to her. I said, Marlene, if you don't want to go, I'll get on the phone right now and I'll turn the job down. I said, because I'm not going to ruin my family for a job. And I said, if you really don't want to go, we won't go. And she turned to me, and I'll tell you, this is what family is all about. She says, you've always strengthened going there. It's always been a goal. I don't want to stand here where it's going. So we went. We got into South Bend that night. Father met us. Sports rides around. He took us out the back road through the other day. We stayed overnight at Los Angeles Series house that night. I didn't sleep the whole night. First night there, I can usually sleep. I don't sleep when I lose. I can sleep when I win, but I don't sleep when I lose, and I couldn't sleep that night. And the whole night I was wondering in my mind if I did the right thing. You know, here I'm going there, I'm a rookie, I don't know what's going on. It's all new to me. I've never been in the comic scene before, and I sat to myself and wondered if I was doing the right thing. The next day we had a mass with Father Joyce, Moose Krause, his wife, and Gene Corrigan, his wife, in a little private chapel underneath Sacred Heart. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever attended in my life. Well, anyhow, we went over, we had the press conference, went through that. The next 5 years is history. 5 of the greatest years I've ever spent in my life. Didn't work out the way I'd like to work out. Lost 17 games by 7 points or less. Had a winning record, but it wasn't up to what Notre Dame standards are. But it was a great 5 years. I cherish those 5 years more than anything in my life. It was 5 years that I met a lot of great people, got a lot of great friends. Very close to the people of Notre Dame to this day. Always will be very close to them. They treated me first class. It's a first class operation. It was really neat. When I left, I decided to leave, and I decided that after the LSU football game, we lost 10-7. We were driving for a touchdown to Jimmy Brown, the All-American, the high school winner, dropped the ball on the 15-yard line over the middle. Dropped the ball. We were driving for a touchdown 2 minutes ago. I was able to congratulate Coach Archberger after the game. Went upstairs, one of the coaches grabbed me and says, Tim's over in the corner crying. And I went over to Tim and I says, Tim, I says, don't worry about it. I said, I made 10 bad calls in the game. You didn't lose the ball game. That's what he was concerned about. He said, you didn't lose the ball game. I lost the ball game. If I'd have made the right calls, there wouldn't have been any problem. So don't you put this on your shoulders because it wasn't you. And I thought right then, I said, these kids are playing tight. They're not playing with what they're capable of doing. They know that every game that's being played is a win-loss thing for us, and for me, for our coaching staff. I didn't think that was fair to them. And so anyhow, that night I sat down and talked with my family, my wife and my 3 children. And my wife says, Jerry, I want you to get out of town for good. She says, you know, you've been at Fuller High School, you had great years there, you've been at the top, you've been at Notre Dame, you had 5 years here, your dreams come true, and it's time to get out and do something else and spend more time with the family. My 3 kids who've been abused for 5 years, and I'm going to tell you something. It's not the coach that gets it, it's the kids and the wife that gets it, that sits in the stands, and that's not Notre Dame, that's everywhere. right there